Hello friends, it's your friend Goth Cheech here with an update of how the cemetery looks after about a month of living. As some of you know, I am the funeral director, mortician, undertaker, what have you of the kingdom, and the admins granted me GM tools so I could build this little passion project, since our server is a little slower than the rest of the ones that they have. If you don't remember, it's located in the north lot, or near it, of the West Maple Country Club. And we are one of the biggest safe houses in this server, 60 plus members, and about 10 to 15 that are actually active at this point, and kind of rotating every month or so. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a look at the West Maple Cemetery. This cemetery is split off in 4 different sections. This is the section for the survivors who want to be remembered, but they didn't achieve a lot during their time, such as they didn't get quite 1,000 kills or didn't live quite a week long, but still they were instrumental in keeping this little kingdom going. Right here is the custom little funeral pyre area for those who want to go out in a blaze. Moving on. Hello there. The ghosts. You gotta say hi to the ghosts sometimes. Moving on, this is the second quadrant, or second section. And this is where people who have lived 2 weeks or have 2,500 to 5,000 kills. People in these sections get a grave marker that's more detailed. The other ones in the first section might not even get one, depending on what the people who are buried there want. So for this one says, resting here is our second youngest member, Serna, a valiant hero who survived thousands of zombies, only to die by being a horrible driver and crashing into a tree where he was buried to death. We'll check out his brother, who is buried nearby. These are all offerings, by the way. If you see these little offerings, it's just things that people left that remind them of the player. But yes. Brother says, lost too soon, here rests our youngest member brother. Died fighting valiantly side by side with his brother Serna in Louisville, who was eaten alive. By the grace, he was revived, only to be murdered by his kin, Serna, by means of pyromania. I crowed. The third section, or third little quadrant, is where players that got over 5,000 kills and lived up to 3, maybe not even a month, weeks, you know? So far, no one is buried on this section. Some people just forgo getting buried, or they haven't been able to schedule a ceremony. Here lies Chap, who is one of the oldest members of the kingdom. Kingdom's been around since September, has gone through changes throughout the last couple wipes, but is now being led by Millie, who is less so of a king and more so of a caretaker, really, of this place and safe house. Of course, we as a community decide on things. But Cha died heroically defending new recruits for the kingdom. And that sounds like the kind of guy he is, really. He does love pizza. I guess somebody thought he loved fried fish. He's iconically usually wearing a football helmet. He loves to drink. Here before we go to the big house, is where Millie's first playthrough ended. He had been one of the longest surviving members at that point, and fell after a month and somewhat. Rest in peace, Millie. Sadly, rest here is our beloved leader, Millie. Died not to a horde of zombie, but their own narcolepsy. I think there should always be a little humor in morbid things. Otherwise, it's too heavy, you know? And I like that the kingdom is pretty good at keeping it silly. Here lies the dude. Rest here is the guy after killing hordes of zombies. He finally died fighting valiantly two massive waves of teleporting flying zombies when the cosmic universe of this world decided to split in 3 different dimensions. I did die the other day. I went on a fishing trip with everybody, and the game stuttered, and I walked into a fire. So, yeah. You can die in so many different ways in this game. Isn't that lovely? Before we head inside, I'm going to show you the embalming room. Since there aren't your typical morgue freezers that are functioning in this game, we use these ice freezers from the convenience stores to store the corpses. Over here you find some supplies, bleach, saw, scalpel, you know, hazmat suits, gowns, biochemical masks if needed, cleaning liquid. If there was a way to document things in the game, I would be doing that for posterity. This is where the bodies would be prepared. Moving on, we'll go over to the front of the funeral home. This is the visitor center. This is where people can leave me notes in the mailbox. Let's see if anybody's left me anything. Nope. But I can show you what it says. This is the home of Cheech, mortician, medic, tailor, mechanic, builder, and undertaker of the kingdom. Please leave me notes here. This is a little kitchen where I can prep, or someone can prep food for events at the cemetery. This is where copies of the funeral records go, so you know who's buried here. This is the public restroom. There's a stall and 2 urinals. Wait, where are the urinals? Who took the urinals? Oh well. And this is the guest house's bathroom. So if any people want to come visit me, there's a little room for them to stay here. Lizzie was staying with me for a while. Little hangout area. I have things to put away, it looks like. This is a little guest laundry area. And this is where I keep my poultices and stuff, because you gotta take care of yourself. And this is actually a tiny little garage for working on cars, especially for the guests. And now we'll move into the false church. So for aesthetic reasons, I wanted there to be a church outside. And there is a place to congregate, but I'm not a very religious person, so the first floor of the church is actually a secret garage. as you see, I like collecting purple. I also collect black cars. Upstairs is kind of an armory. We have our fake priest here. And this actually has a 3rd floor balcony as well. Which you can hop the railing and end up here. This is the roof of my actual apartment. And this is the balcony of my apartment. And it connects back to over here. The guy had this really great idea to make a pergola over the walkway of the cemetery. So that's why there's this massive structure here. And yes, it is winter, but since these trees were placed with tools, they don't wither with the seasons, which is a little bit of a bummer. It would be cool to see them die and bloom year-round. As you can see, this place is really helpful for picking off zombies from a safe area if we ever get overrun. They do seem to come from the northwest and northeast. There's other things I want to show you outside of the cemetery in a different video, but it connects back to the church. And the sliding doors also connect the apartment to the church. I made myself quite the extravagant place, but all these things you see I picked off from Louisville, from the Equestrian Club, from the houses nearby in Riverside. I have, you know, my own bathroom with working plumbing from the barrels upstairs, and don't mind this little mini armory and a laundry and closet. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little tour. Oh yeah, I guess one last thing I could show you is my little parking lot I made myself, because after a while I wanted something to do that wasn't just building or slaying zombies. And so I made a parking lot for my car collection. I love purple and black, so you got my black cars, and you got my favorite kind of emergency vehicle cars, because they're some of the best in the game. And then you got the purples that aren't in the garage, and these are extra cars for assistant funeral director. So if you want to join, I am looking for an assistant funeral director to go fetch bodies and keep track of things for me while I'm building other things. But yeah, that's it for this video. I think we've already talked a lot, and that's a lot of information. So even if you're watching this at 2x speed, I appreciate you clicking, and any comments you have, love to hear it, good or bad. I know I made this with tools, but it's a lot of fun, and I love the imperfections of B41 and the limitations to isometric building. So I'm really grateful that I've been allowed to experiment with all that. Till later. Adios.